Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to create and consume a streaming API dataset in Power BI. We are going to start creating an endpoint in the Power BI service. Then we are going to define all the fields that we expect. After that, we are going to create a PowerShell script to send continuously data from our local machines to the endpoint. And to conclude, we are going to create some visuals in a dashboard. So let's start in Power BI service. We should go to the workspace in which we want to create the dataset. In our case, we are already in the one that we are going to work on, so we are going to click on New and Streaming Dataset. We will see here the three types of streaming datasets that we can build: API, Stream Analytics, and PubNav. In this case, we are going to work with the API one. Let's select it and click on Next. Now we need to give it a name. We are going to call it My Machine Resources, and we need to configure the values that we are going to receive. Our API is going to receive data about how our machine is performing. So it's going to receive values as the CPU use and the memory use. And apart from that, it will also receive a date time. So we are going to add first the date, and in the type we're going to set it as datetime. CPU use, for that a number type, memory use, and also a type number. And we are going to click on the history data analysis that will allow us to take a look at the data not only as a stream source. We are going to click on Create, and Power BI will give us the endpoint URL. Apart from that, we have here the JSON format that we should supply to the endpoint, and we can get part of the PowerShell code that we will need. We are going to copy it to an empty PowerShell tab, and as we can see, we have here the endpoint. Here we have the code to build the JSON with the hard-coded sample values, and here we have the code to do the call to the API, formatting at the same time the body as a JSON. We are going to add some code to calculate the date of the first column, and we are going to replace the value with the variable. Now we are going to copy some more code. This new code is going to calculate the CPU use and the memory use of the local machine just in the moment when we run it. So as we did with the date, we are going to first replace the hard-coded values with these variable values. Now this should work. Let's test our code just to see if everything is fine. We are going to print the payload variable here. We are going to execute this, and we can see the values: the date, the CPU, and the memory use. If we run it again, we can see that all the values are now different, which means that it's working. Okay, this code is ready for a one-time execution, but we need to do the execution periodically. So we are going to configure the process to run for 2 minutes. We are going to add a while to make the process to be running during these 2 minutes. And to finish, we are going to add a wait time after each execution. Okay, this code is ready to run. Let's go back to the Power BI service, click on Done, and there it is, our dataset. We can click now on New and choose Dashboard. We are going to call it Streaming, and we are going to start editing it. In the source, we need to choose Custom Streaming Data, and we are going to choose the one that we created. In this screen, we can see the visuals that we can use to show data, that it's a bit limited from the ones that usually Power BI offers. And we are going to choose a card. We are going to choose the CPU use as a value, and in the title, let's set it as CPU use. We are going to repeat exactly the same steps to create a memory use card. We can't see data, and that's because our PowerShell script is still not running. Let's go and start it. We can see the values that are being sent. If we go back to Power BI and we refresh the page, we can now see some of the numbers changing. This means that it's working. Let's add a line chart. For the x-axis, let's choose the date. And for the values, let's select both the CPU and the memory use. In the time window, let's keep 1 minute. This is the time period that our chart is going to show. And for the title, we are going to uncheck the box and click Apply. And there we have our first streaming charts. We are going to test that this is working. If we open a couple of Power BI files, we should see that something starts changing. We can see an increase in the CPU use and also a small increase in the memory consumption. If I close them, the charts will start again to decrease. So that's it. Okay, before finishing the video, here there are some limitations in the streaming API that we should be aware of. There are limitations regarding the number of columns, number of tables, the number of rows added per single post. Definitely something to take into consideration if we are going to work with a big amount of data. I hope this video has been useful for you. Thanks for watching and don't forget to give a like.